You're right, mate. If you feel awkward when you talk to camera and are still struggling to communicate at the level that you want, I've actually made a system for you that will show you exactly why and what to fix so you can start talking to camera like your favorite creators. After finally overcoming my own horrendous camera awkwardness, I built my first YouTube channel to over 300,000 subscribers, gained 17 million views, and on this channel, I'm obsessed with bringing out the best in people so they can finally talk to camera with confidence and a little bit of zest, a little bit with charisma. Not with what I just did, don't do that. But this is the problem, mate. If you follow generic advice, you're likely not gonna get anywhere because it's not tailored to you. If somebody tells you on a video that you need to make more eye contact and you need to talk to camera with more authority, you might already be making way too much eye contact and talking to camera with way too much authority. So it might actually be terrible advice for you. And this is where my rating system comes in. All right, let me show you how this works by using it to, what is this? This is a prop, I'm not even using this. Let me show you how this works by using it to give feedback to an email subscriber of mine who submitted his video called George Penrose. Now, the video we're gonna watch did really well on his channel compared to the rest of his content, so it's a really interesting one to study. Roll the clip. Click.
Alright kids, welcome back to the classroom. So in this video, I'm going to explain my 4-part daily routine that I used during engineering school to help me get straight A's in my exams. Because this routine that I'm going to explain behind me, it seems complicated, but trust me, it's very simple, very intuitive. It takes advantage of some basic human biology and psychology to optimize your day for the highest grades with the least amount of stress.
So when I first saw this video, I was like, this dude's pretty good. Like, there's not that much I could give him feedback on. But when I plugged him into my system, it was like the fog cleared and I could see exactly what could take him to the next level. All right, this is our feedback system. We've got outer habits, communication scales, characteristics, and value. Within these, we've got these subcomponents, and I'll explain all of these as we get into giving George some feedback. Let's look at George's scores. Boom. So as you can see, great scores, but the system has now revealed exactly where he can improve. Also, after giving George feedback, we're going to be analyzing a top creator with these scores to help us understand exactly how George could do even better. By the way, you can access this tool for free in the description. At the end of this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how you can use this tool to improve your on-camera presenting. All right, first, let's go through the outer habits. So, hand gestures.
My 4-part daily routine that I used during engineering school to help me get straight A's in my exams.
Hands aren't really in the frame for that first bit. But throughout the video, he does use his hands. So I'm gonna give him about a 70 on that. It's quite easy to get 100% on hand gestures. You're more or less just using them in the frame most of the time with a degree of intention and you're not just sort of throwing them around. So you could definitely get a better score here by just putting them more in the frame. Eye contact, very good.
4-part daily routine that I used.
Sometimes has these sort of micro jitters, but like in general, very good. I wouldn't worry about this. It's in the green, don't need to focus on it anymore really. Vocal intonation. His vocal intonation is pretty good. He's using his voice fairly expressively. His style is actually pretty serious, like here we go, we're going through this. So it doesn't have to be like, hey kids, welcome to class. The whole point is him being like, welcome to class, let's get to business.
In this video, I'm gonna explain my 4-part daily routine.
This score I actually use for sort of voice in general, and he could articulate his words a little bit better, and he could resonate a bit more of his voice. He's a little bit in his throat, and
I'm gonna explain my 4-part.
Hey guys, welcome to class. And if he just opened it up a bit more, hey guys, welcome to class, I think it would just add a little bit of power to his presentation. Next, we've got body movement and posture, right? This is 80%. I've just given him a tick. Pretty good. I like the way he's moving around.
Your energy fluctuates up and down. You might notice this at sometimes parts of the day, you're more tired than other parts of the day.
I like it. When he's even saying that, your energy fluctuates up and down. He's like doing a bit of a wave with the body. It looks good. He's using his body well, and it's not like this stiff thing. When I talk about body posture and movement, I don't think people need to be like a dance level choreography level of control. It's more just like, don't be super stiff, and then don't like throw yourself around and be weird. Like just use your body to express yourself and you're good. So he's got like a solid whatever, like 80, probably give him a 90 to be honest. Nothing to work on there, absolutely fine. Communication scales, energy focus. When I talk about energy focus, it's about how focused your energy is, okay? A problem with people talking to camera can be that their energy isn't focused. Their energy is almost inward and they're not like projecting at the camera, or it's scattered and the energy's over here, it's over there. We want it pretty focused on the camera, and he's doing great here.
You might notice this, that sometimes parts of the day, you're more tired than other parts of the day. So this up and down.
And this is even reflected in his hand gestures. Usually if your hand gestures are sort of pointing at the camera, it's kind of a reflection that your energy is going at the camera as well. Energy level is high. He's good, it's good, he's excited, you know? I like this bit here where he's like, this is fucking good. He's like excited about it.
This is one day. This is one day. Here's where you wake up on the left. Time goes on throughout the day.
I like it. He's excited. Groundedness. Okay, this is where we get into things. Groundedness, 60%. He's pretty grounded. He's pretty grounded, but I can tell, this links to expression control as well. He's not fully in control of what's going on. I can tell because his energy's high, it's throwing him off center a little bit. That's why he's moving around a lot, and it's not sort of like the grounded power energy. It's a little bit thrown around, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's something to work on in the future. This actually reaches its full expression at 5 minutes in when he says this.
Simply do it during this release period, that's it. Whew, bro, I gotta calm down. I've never done a standing video like this. I'm out of breath, but okay.
Do you think he's actually out of breath just from standing up? Like, obviously not. He's out of breath because of adrenaline, because of like the presenting on camera. It's sort of this exciting thing where you're talking about stuff and you want to get your point across, and it's great. The energy is great. I love it. However, if he was more grounded and he did maybe a breathing exercise before, got a little bit more in his body, and had a bit more control over what he was saying, he could maintain his groundedness. You know those TED Talks where they're like in the middle of the 5 minutes, they can pause and deliver their point with that absolute certainty, and then take it higher energy again, but then they're in control, right? I would say that George here is slightly out of control, and it makes it a little bit hectic. And this sounds like nitpicking, but when I compare this to a pro level creator in a second, you'll see exactly what I mean. It's super interesting. So expression control, kind of linked to groundedness, but it's more about the individual expressions. So what I like to see is people look in control of their expressions.
You want to start your first study session as early as possible, because right after we wake up, that's when our energy is at a maximum. So we're going to take full advantage of that, and literally it can be right as you roll out of bed. I know many people, they roll out of bed and they get straight to studying.
It's good to get more control. Most people need more control. You see the way I'm talking now? Most people need more control, right? I'm in control of my voice. I'm in control of my hands. I'm in control of how I'm presenting right now. Clarity, 50%, George. All right. This is an area to work on. The board keeps him clear, but he's actually a little bit scattered.
And I can say this because I literally looked forward to exam season because of this routine. Partly because of this routine, partly because I learned to love studying, which go watch my videos about it if you're interested, but I'm gonna go through this routine right now.
So this, and he keeps on coming back to this, is perfect because he's got this sort of high scattered energy, but he keeps going back to the board. He's got the system and he's just following the system. It forces him and the audience to kind of focus in and know they're on a journey. I think if he didn't have the board here and he was just talking, this would feel a little bit scattered. Next up, we've got something called emotional framing. And this is when you are in control of the emotion that you want the audience to perceive. This is really important when it comes to presenting. George here is pretty good at the emotional framing. What is the emotional frame? It's like, welcome to class, listen up. I've got some really exciting stuff to teach you. It's gonna help you out. So let's get serious.
All right, kids, welcome back to the classroom. Class is in session. Go study, get out of here, get out of my classroom. See you later.
And I like that. A lot of the time people don't have an emotional frame, and we'll show you an example when somebody doesn't have one in a second, and you can see exactly what that looks like. Next up, we've got characteristics. So these are like sort of character attributes, and everyone has slightly different ones on these, so they don't all have to be 100%, but I've put them in a way that if they are all 100%, it's definitely a good thing. Authority is the first one, and this is kind of a mix of what you say and how you say it. So you can build authority by, he says, he has the result. You know, what's the title of the video? 4-part daily exam routine that got me straight A's. In the intro, he says, I got straight A's in engineering. He literally has the result that all these students want, straight A's. So great. I put it at 80. I guess it could be more if he said like, I don't know, I got like the top of the top grades. Or he could actually link the authority to the relatability and say something like, I was a lazy bum and I couldn't study at all, and I found this routine and this got me like top marks. That would be more authority and more relatability, if it was true, obviously, don't just make it up. So relatability, he's actually pretty relatable.
Me, I used to wake up, take a shit, get some breakfast, and go for a walk.
But it takes a while, and he could be more relatable from the offset. So as I said, he could make a quick story and make this more powerful and relatable. So I used to be scattered and it really sucked. I sort of know where you're at. I was in this downward spiral and I couldn't focus, but now I got A's and it's because of this system. Obviously there are so many students, I imagine, stuck in like doom scrolling and not being able to focus. And if he came with a short relatable story of like, I used to be like you until I sorted my shit out and followed this system, that would be more relatable and build more authority because you're putting more authority on the system that you are presenting. Next up, we got vulnerable. All right, vulnerable's at 60%, could be better. I kind of feel like with this video, because he's presenting with quite a lot of authority, this is a mistake that I've fallen into quite a lot and I see other people falling into quite a lot. They're like, right, this is an authority video. I'm like, welcome to class and motivational, let's get your shit together. And then you just completely forget to be any kind of vulnerable and relatable. And instead you're just like full authority. And this is a big mistake. I studied some of the top creators and in almost every video, even within the first 30 or 60 seconds, they show massive authority and relatability and vulnerability. All right, this is what the top creators are doing and it creates this incredibly potent cocktail. So even though I said this shows him ungrounded.
Bro, I gotta calm down. I've never done a standing video like this. I'm out of breath.
This is actually great. It's sort of like breaking the fourth wall. Let's time out a second. Like this is just between me and you. I need to calm down. All right, okay, back to the video. That creates a really good connection with the audience. I like that bit of vulnerability there, George. Warm, 30% warmth.
And you're going to battle throughout the day. Like I said, we've got 2 study periods. One here, one here. I'm gonna go through them.
He's not that warm. That could be okay. Again, this is different presenting styles. So we could have somebody who's like not warm at all, but they're like the motivational dude. So it's kind of fine. But I think in general, it is better if you have some warmth. It's this feeling of sort of connectedness. If you imagine this slight smile where it makes you feel invited, like you want to kind of sit down with this person and have a chat, rather than just somebody like talking at you. So it could work on his warmth a little bit there, I think. And last off, the fun/funny.
You know, don't go home tonight and like go on the hub, go schmeet your hub on the hub tonight and be like, oh bro, Penrose said I should go schmeet my fleet on the hub. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying to develop an addiction to drugs or whatever.
He's pretty funny, he says some funny stuff in the video. And also he has that kind of fun energy, like the scattered energy makes it more fun. So I've given it 60%. He could emphasize that more and learn to like throw in a few more, maybe pre-planned jokes or just like be a bit more sort of improv spontaneous, like joke around a little bit more. That would probably build some warmth, maybe some vulnerability to offset the authority too. So that could create a pretty potent cocktail. Finally, value is awesome. So is he being helpful? Yes, he's got a very clear system. He's explaining it pretty concisely and loads of comments, people saying this is so helpful. Specific avatar, 100%. Students who want good grades. He's not like, this system is gonna change your life to make you more better person to everyone in the world. He's like, nah, this is for students who want to study and it's gonna get you good grades. It's very specific for a specific audience. Guess who the audience is? It's all students watching it. All right, but you might be thinking, okay, is it actually possible to get high scores on everything? And what does that actually look like? Yes, and I'm about to show you a breakdown of a creator who has got very high scores and actually presents in a similar style with a whiteboard to George. Let me show you exactly what this looks like. Introducing Jack Piggott. Let's look at his scores. Boom. This might look intimidating, but overall, there's not actually that much to improve here. He just needs to know exactly what to focus on to get to the next level. Just before we get into this next section, if you didn't know already, I run a cohort-based program called the Natural Speaking System, which helps business owners, entrepreneurs, aspiring creators get to the next level with their on-camera presenting. Spaces are very limited. If you're curious about that, go ahead and join the waitlist below. So let's have a little look at Jack's video.
You are already ahead of 90% of the people your age if you can just communicate competently. It is statistically proven that the people who are better communicators, they get better job opportunities and make more money, and they attract higher quality of the opposite sex. And if you look at the people under the age of 25 nowadays, you will see that there is a supply and demand issue.
All right, let's breeze through the outer habits because they're probably the least important thing. His hand gestures are good, kind of like George. They could be more on screen, but apart from that, they're good, he's relaxed, he's doing the right thing, expressing himself with his hands. Eye contact is great, there's no sort of like micro jitters, it's just relaxed on the camera. He might look away sometimes, but then always come back to the camera, great. Vocal intonations is also really good. He's controlled with his voice.
That there is a supply and demand issue. There's a demand for good communicators, but there's not a lot of supply.
So he's just using his voice purposely. There's demand for a lot of communicators, but there's not a lot of supply, right? You can see he's using his voice purposefully, which links to some of the other things that we're going to talk about. This is where it's more interesting. Energy focus. He's 100% on the camera. He's very engaged with what he's saying. Cool. Energy level, 90%. He's got the appropriate energy level. It's funny because he doesn't come across as a like super energetic, this is what you need to do. Even when he's talking about charisma and communication, he's like, I'm very relaxed and I'm gonna tell you what to do.
You are already ahead of 90% of the people your age if you can just communicate competently.
And that is the appropriate amount of energy. This energy level isn't saying like this guy's at 100%, this guy's at 50%. It's actually saying what is the appropriate amount of energy for this video. And if it's 100%, it means it's 100% the appropriate amount. So if I rated his energy overall between 1 to 10, it might be like a 6 or something, but that's 100% perfect for this video. Next thing, groundedness. This is where Jack starts to separate himself from George a little bit. His level of groundedness is really important to look at.
The tap, the quality of water, represents the quality of your communication. I had, because of my anxiety, developed gunk in this tap.
Just notice how he takes time to pause. This tap represents the quality of your communication. And this is what you're gonna do here. So he's got that high energy, he's got that like level of excitedness about what he's presenting, but he's not scattered and sort of with his energy up in his head. He's quite relaxed, and you can tell if somebody's relaxed if they're able to pause with purpose. This links extremely clearly to expression control. If we look at George's, it's a 50 expression control. So he's got a lot going for him. He's in control in general, but moments out of control. He's saying in the middle of the video, like, I'm out of breath. A lot of his expressions are sort of a little bit scattered, excited about what he's saying, but a little bit all over the place. Whereas Jack, in his video, 100% expression control. Check out the control.
The blockage was holding me back from being a good communicator. You could be the best speaker out there, but if you have a lot of anxiety, a lot of embarrassment, a lot of like a fear of judgment, you're not going to be able to express yourself clearly because it feels like there's a block at your throat.
So look at the variation in speed, it's really interesting. So you could be the best communicator out there, but if you have a lot of anxiety, if you have this, if you have that, he's in control of the rhythm, of the cadence, of the expression. Clarity, is he clear in what he's saying? He's absolutely clear, he's got a clear structure, that's an easy 100%. Emotional framing, 100%. He's dictating how you are feeling. Like as soon as you click on this video, you're greeted into a sort of a vibe, and it's made by the music, but also the presentation.
You are already ahead of 90% of the people your age if you can just communicate competently. It is statistically proven.
For me, I feel like he's calming me down. You're gonna be ahead of 90% of people your age if you can just communicate competently. Welcome to my video. I'm gonna show you exactly how to do that. You can stick around and chill out. Authority. He gives authority easily. He just says like, this is why you should listen to me based on these statistics. This is why you should listen to me. Look at, I'm obviously a good communicator. It's at 80% here because he could have more authority. You know, if he was saying like, you know, I'm giving talks about communication on stage and look at these TED Talks I've done or something, like obviously he would have more authority. But given the fact that he's like 19 or something, he doesn't have that. And that's fine, like he doesn't need that. There's obviously loads of people who would find that a little bit unrelatable. They're like, oh, I don't want to be a guy in a suit giving TED Talks. Like, I'm just a kid and I want to learn from another kid. And like, that's fine. Authority 80%, no worries. Relatable, 100%.
When I was 12 years old, I was in year 6 at the time, I was the school captain of my primary school and I think maybe 30 or 40 kids because I was probably the best speaker there.
I always try to encourage other people by telling them to never give up and to always try their best.
And then 3 or 4 months later, I started dating the other school captain, who was a good speaker as well. Around 5 months into our lovey-dovey stage.
By telling a story, he's making himself way more relatable. He's building that connection with his audience, so his relatability is pretty high. This is all within like a minute, by the way. And this is where the difference comes in, because George has other videos where he's like vulnerable, relatable, tells a story. It's cool. But then in this video that we studied, he's authority and he doesn't do that. The top creators do usually all of that in one single video. It's really interesting. So Jack's doing all of this. He's got the high authority, he's being relatable, then he gets really vulnerable and goes ahead and says like, you know, one of my friends was kind of like stealing my girl from me, and it was a very painful experience. Is it warm? I feel like it is warm. In his expression, in his eyes, he's like, hey bro, I'm gonna talk to you. And this is sort of a warm feeling between you and me. It's not like, this is how you can improve your communication, all right? Listen up because I'm gonna tell you. How cold is that? Fun/funny. In this video, he's not being that fun. It's kind of a serious video, but kind of because of the story and the clips he's using, it's about like his school experience and stuff.
You, most of the time, are mentally, trying to think of the word, fuck, I'm meant to be a good communicator. Rehearsing what you're reading.
There you go. Look at that. That's the same thing as George did. He's like, oh, I'm out of breath. He's like, hey, here's a little relatable moment. Here we go. That also makes it a bit more fun. This is the sort of a funny that's appropriate for this video. You know what? I might give it a 60%. He could be a bit more funny, but then it might destroy the vibe of the video, which is kind of serious and emotive. So I don't know, maybe 70% is fine. Value, is it helpful? Yeah, it's pretty helpful. Is it like a masterclass? George's is a bit more of a 15-minute in-depth masterclass. This is like an 8-minute, here's a brief system. But it can really help give people a mindset shift, so it's great. And is there a specific avatar? Not that specific, but specific enough. This is why this video has gone super broad. It's got like 5 million views. It's kind of, he's managed to make a video that's for everyone. Now that's not necessarily a good thing, depending on your goals. If he was trying to make a business around this, sure, it's great that he got loads of views, but he'd want to probably target more specific people. But the avatar is definitely specific enough for this to be a success. So let's go through a step-by-step process of how you can use this tool to improve your on-camera presenting, get to the next level. Hopefully you're not going to give yourself a rating of 0 on every single one. You're going to open a video next to it, and it's going to be either a video from your YouTube channel if you have one, or if you don't, go and record a video of yourself talking to camera about anything for 5 to 10 minutes. Get it open, watch a bit of the video, and start rating yourself.
It's Tom here, and I'm just doing my first video blog.
This is the first time I ever talk to camera, so let's just give myself a quick rating without explaining things.
To practice my...
All right, so these are the scores I would have given myself. Now the process is identify the red zones or the orange zones, the low scores, and then make a video that works on that thing. So in this example, I could either try and sort of work on my vocal intonation, energy level, clarity, emotional framing, and fun in the same video, but likely that's going to be a lot to focus on and probably going to be too much. If I wanted to make more meaningful targeted progress, I would say, for example, there's 5 reds in here. I'd set myself a 5-day challenge, record each video each day, 10 minutes, focusing on one of these red zones. And this is exactly what happened. I didn't have this system back then, obviously, but I knew that in this video, my vocal intonation was terrible. I was stuck in a really monotone voice, and that's the thing I started to work on. Next, I would pick something else to work on, and through this process, I improved a ton in how I could communicate to camera. So those are the steps. In the natural speaking system, we're going to be using tools like this and way more to improve massively as a group. If you would like to join that again, the waitlist is in the description below.